Hello, Power Apps and Power BI enthusiasts. Welcome back again to the Power App tutorial channel. I want to say congratulations to the 2025 Power Up Challenge cohorts. I hope you guys are enjoying building solutions. All right. Well, in today's video, we're going to be jumping back in to our Power BI report. Specifically, we're going to be working on our latest trends. So I got a request from a user called Bruno, and he wanted to work on latest news trends for 1 and 3 months. I'm actually going to break this down to animals rescued in the last 30, 60, and 90 days. I believe if we create measures to do this, it will cover those trends and then you can build upon it. Okay, so if you guys are ready, let's just jump right into it. But first we need data. So we need to go back to our solution. So I'm back in my animal shelter solution and we're on our animal apps tab. Let's just go ahead and look at our application first. So this is the model-driven form. And as you can see, we only have 50 animals. So I want to add new animals. But to add new animals, I usually like to have a specific process for doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and activate our animal info process and turn it on. Okay, so we're back and it's finally on. So let's just go straight to go back to our model-driven app. It should be this one right here and open it up. This time around, I'm going to go back to our animal info and click new to create a new animal. And we're just going to use the form this time around. And for the first one, we're going to use test one to represent the first animal. Give a bearded dragon date of birth will be October 2024, sex female. Then we jump straight to shelter details, give it 2. Now I would say this, if you want to be more professional, the best way to do this is you should create a flow, so a process flow that will subtract from the space, from the count of animals in animal shelter every time you add an animal. So you should create that before you start adding animals to your table. But we're not going to make this video really long. And then, so let's go ahead and add in shelter. And then for the date of arrival, because this is what we're going to use to determine, animals fostered in the last, animals rescued in the last 30, 60, and 90 days. So for test one, I already have dates that's would suffice for test one. We will give test one March 25th. Yep, that will work. And then for it's fine like this. You can have none, no need to just pick it up. And I believe that's the rest of it. Okay, and with that, we should have enough data to fill our form. Let's hit save. Awesome. So we have created our first test animal. Let's create a new one using the same. It's going to be test two, cat. Same process. This time around, put her in shelter three. And for the dates, we're gonna give her February 11th, and then this should be fine. And then hit save to create the second one. One last one. There's three. Okay, and then female shelter details will give her shelter four. I would also make this in shelter as a, but let's go ahead and add arrival animal dates. So for this one, we'll give her January 14th. Awesome. Okay, and then that will be saved. So now we should have our three new test data that were created. Let's go back to our animal table. And we have our three new rows. Let's sort this real quick so we can see, okay, so we have test one, test two, test three. Everything looks good. Let's go back to Power BI to visualize our report. All right, so we are back in our BI report. And then if we go straight to available animals, as you can see, it's still showing 8 and 2. So let's just hit refresh real quick so it can pull the data from our model-driven app in Dataverse. If you remember, we connected it using Dataverse, so it's just going to pull it directly. Awesome. So we finally have our data in, and I'm going to just expand this a little bit so we can see a little bit clearer. Okay, here we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add the animal date of arrival. It looks like a very good thing to add to this table right here. And then we're just gonna, I'm gonna rename this guy. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna sort based on animal date of arrival. All right, so we can see our first test one, test two, test three for this table. Let's make some minor adjustment here. Let's put this guy over here and here. This should be fine. All right, so that's good for the animal available animals. That's the only modification I needed to make on there. Let's go straight to our cards and start creating our measures. Grab this guy and duplicate 3 times. I'm going to use them to create our measures. So just go ahead and click on our measures table. We're going to create all our measures on our measures table and click on new measure. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this and then I'll explain it. All right, so the first one is going to be the last days, and it's a pretty short code and it's pretty much self-explanatory. So it's going to count the total number of animals in the animal info table, and then it's going to filter the animals based on the animal date of arrival, right? So it's going to count from today's date and it's going to minus 30 from it. That's just basically what the code is doing. Very simple, straightforward dates. calculating based on animal info and today's date to 30 days. And if you hit save or the check mark to save that in there, and we're just gonna remove this guy and drop the last 30 days in there to get our first value. So that's for the first measure. Create the second, a new measure. And same thing as before, just so this time around we're looking at 60 days. So just change this to 60. Awesome. And everything look good. And then hit check mark to save that. Make sure you're checking on the right card. Okay. All right. So that's 30, 60, and this is saying 1. All right, hold on. Let's go to the third one first. And the third one says a new measure. Let's add that in there. This one should be for 90 days. I have a feeling I know why the second one is saying 1. But let's finish this one first. So last 90 days would be counting 90. Should look good and hit save. And remove this guy and then drop last 90 days in here. So if we're okay. All right, so our code is actually working for the last 30 days and last 60 days, but it's not working. It's working for last 30 and last 90, but not working for the last 60. Okay, I have a feeling it's because so if you look at our code, if you look at the code, it's counting based on a number, so it's a hard-coded number. And that will depend on the days of the month. So I have a feeling if we go back to our model-driven app and tweak this dates, so shelter details, date of arrival, to let's make it the 13th. And then we'll go back to our BI reports and hit refresh. Awesome. All right. So that's just it. It's just the code is hard coded in. I mean, you can factor in the difference in months, but we're not gonna add any other code to make it a little bit more complex. So that's just the limitations of the code and also how the code works. All right, and now that we've added our 30, 60, and 90 days and they're working fine, let's add them to our shelter review. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna replace this guy with our 3 new measures. All right, and this should be how our new report should look like. Let's hit save. And you can go ahead and publish this to your environment. I'm just going to publish it to my workspace. And with that, we've actually come to the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you on the next one. Thank you and goodbye.